On January the 28th, 1986, NASA faced its first shuttle disaster, the loss of the Challenger orbiter and its 7-astronaut crew. Here, Challenger's last crew, members of the STS-51L mission, stand in the White Room at Pad 39B, following the end of a launch dress rehearsal. Left to right, we see Teacher in Space participant Sharon Christa McAuliffe, Payload Specialist Gregory Jarvis, Mission Specialist Judy Resnick, Commander Dick Scobie, Mission Specialist Ronald McNair, Pilot Michael Smith, and Mission Specialist Ellison Onizuka. America's only Irish station, Radio Irish, that's what you're listening to. Sean McCarthy here. And it was on that day, January the 28th, 1986, when Henry O'Donovan and I were manning the news desk at Radio Nova up on the Scholarstown Road in Rathfarnham Park, County Dublin. We witnessed the Challenger disaster right on our screens in the Radio Nova newsroom and literally had to drop everything and carry the weight of the story as it unfolded. What a sad and tragic day, the dreadful day that it was. And so today, I find myself back reporting on the Space Shuttle some 26 years later, as the populations of New York City, the great city of Newark, and the Mile Square, Hoboken, New Jersey, brace themselves for a spectacular flyover, piggybacked atop a NASA-modified Boeing 747 of the Space Shuttle Enterprise. I just couldn't resist coming here today and being here. Not only will this occasion never happen again, but the Space Shuttle program has ended. I have very mixed feelings about that, as do many of us who grew up with the fleet of shuttles and their varied and fantastic missions into space and back to Earth. So we stand here today in Frank Sinatra Park in Hoboken, New Jersey, waiting for the Space Shuttle Enterprise to break into sight over these beautiful New York area skies. I'm here with hundreds of Space Shuttle enthusiasts gathering to watch Enterprise make an historical and dramatic flight past the Statue of Liberty, over the Verrazano Bridge, right up the Hudson River, right over the George Washington Bridge towards the Tappan Zee Bridge, then swinging back around towards Hoboken again as Enterprise makes a dramatic flight towards the great city of Newark, then in a wide arc back over the Hudson and directly over Upper Manhattan, en route to John F. Kennedy International Airport, where Enterprise makes its historical final landing. The Space Shuttle Enterprise will make its home at the Intrepid Sea, Air and Space Museum, right here in New York City. After 30 years of space flight from the shuttle program, the United States has retired its space shuttles after building the $100 billion International Space Station, which was a 15-nation project, and after the launch of the Hubble Space Telescope by Space Shuttle Discovery on April the 24th, 1990. There were so many other major achievements in space which, without the Space Shuttle program, simply would not have happened. So we must remain grateful to all those astronauts whose lives were sadly lost throughout the program. Work is to begin on a new generation of spaceships to carry astronauts beyond the station's 240-mile-high orbit. But still, there are mixed feelings here today, as Radio Irish speaks with gathering Space Shuttle fans just before Enterprise comes into our view. What do you think about the end of the Space Shuttle program?
I definitely think that, it is the end of an era. I grew up in the midst of the shuttle program in the 80s, and I just remember it being such a big deal. I definitely am excited to see what we do next for the shuttle mission is also to see how we collaborate with other nations now, Japan, Russia, their space programs, and see if maybe we can get to Mars or maybe somewhere out towards one of the gas planets, Jupiter, Saturn, in the near future.
I think it's really sad. I love the space shuttles. I went to see the last 2 launches live, but I mean, I hope whatever's coming next is just as awesome.
And is it a sad day for you today to see the space shuttle, the Enterprise, flying over Manhattan?
Definitely sad, but also excited. I saw the Discovery fly over Dulles too the other day, and that was awesome and sad. It kind of felt like somewhere between a retirement party and a wake.
Well, it's too soon, especially without something solid to follow it. But it's also really exciting to see the reception that the orbiters are getting in their new homes. And I just wish people were this excited when they were still flying. But mostly it's bittersweet. I really hope we move on to doing better things very, very soon, and pick a vehicle and go with it and get out there exploring again. The shuttle could only get us to low Earth orbit, and it's time to go further.
I see you have a lot of paraphernalia here.
Yes.
Would you describe yourself as a fan?
Yes, definitely. I was born in 1976, same year as the shuttle program, and so I've been a big fan all my life. I also love NASA's science missions, and so I try to follow it as closely as I can. And I write songs actually about space travel and exploration and why it's so important to humanity. So it's become kind of my work.
And can we find you on the internet with your music?
Absolutely, at www.craftlast.com, and on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere I'm Craft Lass.
Craft Blast?
Craft Lass.
Like Irish lass?
Yes, exactly.
The red hair?
Yep.
I think it's very sad. I grew up as it was starting. I used to live in Orlando. I used to watch shuttles take off from my balcony. I went over for a night launch, and I went over for the launch of the Discovery with John Glenn over at Cape Canaveral. And I've been a big fan of it. I think it's a beautiful craft. I think it's a beautiful program. I just hope they come out with something far more exciting.
And how do you feel today now as we stand over the Hudson River waiting for the Enterprise to come up?
I'm very excited. It's going to be a beautiful day. Visibility's really nicely at this low level, so I think it's going to be a really beautiful arrival.
Sean McCarthy from Radio Irish. What do you think about the end of the programme? How do you feel?
About what?
About the end of the Space Shuttle programme.
I don't know what to tell you on that. I guess what's left to do. I mean, you've gone to the moon and everything, so just end it the way it is. There's not much more they can do out there, I guess.
So you're not upset at all about the end?
No, that doesn't bother me at all. No, that's just what they do.
And what do you think the program achieved over the years?
Death. Look at all the astronauts we lost. Right? Look at all the astronauts. It's a government job. I mean, it should run flawless. But look at all the astronauts that we lost. Especially that one time when the shuttle exploded on takeoff. Was it 8 or 9 of them that were killed?
The Challenger in 1986.
Challenger, exactly. That's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. That's unacceptable to lose lives like that for no apparent reason, for just a little mistake. And these are supposed to be, as they call them, rocket scientists. They're supposed to know what they're doing. It's just a shame, but that's just life, I guess, is the way it is.
Thanks very much, sir.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You have a good day.
You too. But how do you feel today about being here?
I was coming back from vacation, and I just heard someone on the sidewalk saying, "Hey, the space shuttle's flying over today." I didn't know, so I thought, "Oh, I can't miss this." But I saw it one time in D.C. flying over, like way back in the '80s. I live near Dulles Airport, and it's just a very moving thing, and it's also on an enormous airplane, and it's enormous, and the scale of it's just kind of incredible. So that's kind of why I'm here. It's just, just to see it for the fun of it.
Hi, how are you? Sean McCarthy from Radio Irish. We're here waiting for the Enterprise to fly over the Hudson today. How do you feel about the end of the program?
I never got to see one take off, so watching one go by is the next best thing. It's a shame to see it go. I hope that something new happens soon.
Now, you're kind of young. You look like you're around maybe in your teens. What does the program mean to you? What can you remember about the space shuttle?
I just remember seeing it on TV. I'm old enough to remember the Columbia disaster. I watched it happen on TV, and it's unfortunate, but I guess that's just part of the program.
Thank you.
What do you think about the end of the Space Shuttle program?
It's a shame. I'm about 61 years old. I've watched it all the way from the Mercury program all the way up from Gemini and Apollo, and it's disappointing, but the economy is dictating changes in the way we explore other worlds, and I think we have to look into that. The non-manned flights are going to be an asset once we look forward, I think.
And what do you think about U.S. astronauts having to hitch rides with the Russians?
That I'm not in favor of. It's just sorry to see we had such a competition with them, and now we are joining forces with them, which does bring the world together. But it's still that rivalry that's there. That's not there anymore. I think it was just. I think it just happened because of the economy. It doesn't matter who was in the office.
Mixed views there from those gathered around me here at Frank Sinatra Park in Hoboken, New Jersey today. And there she is, the Space Shuttle Enterprise, making its historical flight right over Pavonia, Newport, New Jersey. Indeed, right over our heads, as we gather here in Hoboken, New Jersey, to wish not only the Enterprise a big farewell from the skies, but also to wish a final farewell to all those astronauts whose lives were lost on January the 28th, 1986, when disaster struck Space Shuttle Challenger 73 seconds after launch, with all 7 crew members perishing. And then again on February the 1st, 2003, when Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated during re-entry with the loss of all 7 crew members. May the souls of our bravest rest in peace. Amen. This is Sean McCarthy for Radio Irish.